one ever told me that grief felt so much like fear. I'm not afraid, but the sensation is like being afraid. The same fluttering in the stomach, the same restlessness. There is a sort of invisible blanket between the world and me. At first, I was stubborn, head down as I avoided eye contact with the memories of you in my mind, dreading that if I did look at you, I'd see your face differently, like through old glass or a morning fog. No one ever told me that grief would rip my heart out of my chest. The severing of souls, the retching, the aching, the screaming from the pit of who I am, or who I thought I was. I made a drink for you yesterday, or was it today? I forget. I don't even know the days anymore. I'm only cruelly aware that I'm here and that you're not, and I will be and you won't be. It sat there getting cold, that drink. It's still there now. I should clear it up, but that forces me to acknowledge you won't be drinking it. And that feels like defeat. Defeat in a battle I didn't choose, and a battle I didn't even get to fight. But that's what I've realized. Grief is so intrusive. It's ransacked every corner of this house. My house, our house. It's rifled through the drawers and cupboards of my heart, grabbing handfuls of you without regard for what I want to keep. No one ever asked me what I wanted. No one ever asked me. No one ever told me grief felt so much like fear. No one ever told me.
Hey everyone, my name is Bridget, this is Finn. And if you're watching this, you've most likely seen our human creative piece on grief. You know, life is tricky, it's messy, and it's uneasy at times. But throughout this human series, we really want to give you permission to feel, to talk about those things, to acknowledge them, and hopefully help you as you journey through what it means to be human. So thank you for joining us in this conversation.
Yeah, we really wanted to just open up a dialogue and journey with you guys, the viewers, as we go through this whole series about some of the things that the life is. So, Bridget, I mean, it's a powerful video that we've just watched. What for you is grief? What does that make you think of? What are some of the things that stirs immediately within you?
Right. Well, I think most of the time when you think about grief, you tend to associate it with death, with the loss of a loved one, which absolutely is a major way that you experience grief. However, I've been in places in my life where I've lost a dream. I've put so much time and effort into something that hasn't gone the way that I expected it to, and so there was a sense of loss associated with that. Sometimes it's been friendships. Or a relationship, that ends when you expected it to go in a certain direction and then all of a sudden it doesn't. There's so many different ways to experience grief, and I know it can't be limited to just one thing. And so I think in my life, those have been kind of the three key areas, though I know there's been so many more.
Yeah, right. And sometimes we can feel like those things are not valid, and that the time that we've spent on them kind of affects the permission that we have to really experience the grief that there is. So when we lose a friendship that's only been, I don't know, for a year or so, we feel like we shouldn't really properly be grieving that because it wasn't a big part of our lives. But actually, those things are real, those things are actual things that we feel, and we don't really have that much control over. They happen to us, and then it's our response to them that we can really shape and shift and change. And really one of the things that we wanted to do is just give you permission to say whatever you're going through right now, and whatever you're grieving or feeling a sense of loss around, it's okay. That's a valid thing, it's a real thing, and you shouldn't shy away from that. The key is to step into it, not pretend it's not there.
Right, exactly. In the video, the character kind of went through this process of not really understanding what was happening to him and feeling very almost out of control in this situation. And there will be times when that happens, and you never know how long that will be. But there will come a moment that I think we can all make a choice in our grieving, a choice to move on, a choice to stop being sad. And for all of us, that does look different, and you can't conform to, step A, B, C, and D, how it's all gonna work out. But there will come a moment where you do have to choose. And I think that's what we didn't experience with the character in the video, but something that he could have done in that moment.
I agree. One of the things that was really powerful, I think, about that video is the repetition of the phrase, "No one ever told me." Grief felt so much like fear, and that for me prompted just some thoughts around what would we tell someone if he felt that sense of helplessness and no one ever told me about this. What would we want to say to you guys as the viewer? What have we wanted to hear in terms of grieving? And I know for me, as a person of faith, I've found that there's a verse in the Bible and a bit in the Bible that's been really impacting for me, particularly around moments of suffering and loss and grieving things. And that's in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 10. And it says that after you've suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who's called you to glory in Christ, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. And that verse is so real, it's so human, if you like. It's after a little while. That's an indeterminate amount of time. There's no real end to that, but the promise is that there's a little while, and then the God of all grace himself, he doesn't give it to someone else, he doesn't outsource it, he does it himself. And that would be something we would really want to leave with you, the viewers, that God is going to, after a little while, himself, he'll do it himself. He doesn't give it to someone else, because when it's something we really care about, we go ourselves. And that's the heart of this video for you, is that you would know God in that and through that he is present in your suffering and particularly in your grief.
Absolutely. And you know, this is only the beginning of this conversation. And so we want you to feel free to connect with us, whatever way you feel that you can do that, either through our Mint social media or with CB in Europe. And if you would like to talk with somebody, if you would like to work something out, to pray through it, there's a number that you can call, and you'll see that at the bottom of the screen. We would love to pray with you. We'd love to chat with you through the things that you're feeling, and to help you on this journey as much as we can. So thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to chatting with you more through the rest of this Human series.